Greetings, heroes. Okay, so many exciting things happening. Okay, where do we start? Oh my goodness.
Easter.
So Easter. So Easter rewards are coming out, and we paused on them because we had a couple things we wanted to see if we could do. And TAC pulled out some absolute wonderful miracles, and most of you will get to benefit from that. Dare I say some of the things that are going to be coming out, or should we wait? Maybe we should wait. What if I tell you this? Not only if you participated in this, will you be receiving some type of title and or fun gifts, but you'll also be claiming those incredible gifts using a new in-game command that functions very cleanly and lets you see what you're getting before you get it.
Oh,
it looks really good. And the things that we have, we also, I'll say this, we are so happy with some of the rewards we're giving out. We decided to expand the threshold for getting these rewards just so more people could have them because they're that cool. Like, instead of just doing like, well, the top 10 got this, it's like the top 100. And instead of doing the top 100 got this, it's like the top 250. And I'm really excited for people to see what they're going to be getting.
I'm really excited. I think everybody's going to be really excited. I mean, they really did pull out the stops. The things that are there look absolutely amazing, and
they do.
Yeah.
I never personally tested it. Did you happen to use one as an ogre?
All of them.
Does it look good?
As an ogre, as a gnome?
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it as a dwarf too. It all looks really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Okay, so yeah, Easter rewards coming out tomorrow. Longer downtime tomorrow, 2 p.m. CST. We're coming down, going to be down for 2 to 3 hours. So a great opportunity. Touch grass, hug your loved ones, go for a walk, drink some water, do some exercises, catch up on all that work you haven't been doing. And then when you're done with all of that, you come back to wonderful Easter rewards and some changes that pave the way for a lot of the cool things that you're going to be seeing soon. The first of which, and we haven't put a concrete date on it, you can assume the 20th or the 27th, okay, for solo, self-found, and hardcore. And to support those things, we have expanded scope by a significant amount to bring some really nice UX to this whole thing. And when I mean really nice, I mean, gonna give a little toot shout out to Voidless. Been doing some absolutely incredible things with the UI and how you will be accessing them. Kata, can I go into a little bit of detail? Can I tease this a little more? Like, are you okay with that?
Is this better audio or worse audio?
Way better.
Way better.
Fantastic. As far as teasing more, why I don't really want to talk about specifically what we're doing UI wise for play modes. I would like to talk about the other thing though.
Can we talk about the thing that's going to let accessing play modes be easier and better and great?
Yeah. I don't think we really need to like beat around the bush and like hint at it. I think we could just announce that it's happening.
Oh, okay.
Because like it's basically good. Like there's some implementation details at this point, but like it's just crossing T's and dotting I's.
So something that we did not think possible. We are going to be launching with play modes a second character page you will now be able to have up to 24 characters on your account with the launch of play modes.
Yes. Yes.
And not only will you by default have access to 24, but there is a high likelihood that we will be able to add additional pages as either event rewards, dungeon finder rewards, etc. So
Oh man.
wonderful things coming, and it not for nothing, the interface for it probably the best I've seen. Like, not to toot my own horn, but it's super intuitive, and it looks great.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with how it's turned out. How it just sort of worked was like the most amazing part of it.
Voidless is like, what do you mean it just worked?
Well, yeah, I mean, it did like basically just work, and I mean like the server components of it I put together in like a day. So
Holy
I
shit.
love it.
So
I
AA
love it.
veterancy.
Yeah, big AA veterancy.
Wait a minute. Don't tell Malik.
Malik.
Okay. Yeah, don't tell Malik.
Malik's like, I've got 12 new characters
All right.
already.
I just want to disclose that Malik did find a way around the current veterancy cap. So
Yeah,
you can buy the fireworks, and it continues to raise your character's overall AAs.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, and
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Listen, it does matter because his number is bigger than I'm pretty sure everyone else's.
True.
Bigger numbers matter.
Better.
Matter,
Yep.
Kata.
Oh, okay, I guess that's
Speaking
a
of
wild
bigger
take, but
numbers.
okay.
Speaking of bigger numbers.
Yeah.
So did a little digging because people were asking questions, and we hadn't done some analytics recently. But there were some people out there guessing at different things, and wanted to give a little, like, some interesting data points, interesting things about classes, the classes that you love, the classes that you know. So we went through and did a poll of all level 65 characters, trying to just kind of look at like what is represented and how, and very, very happy that we've seen a positive shift from what we saw previously. So the lowest class that we see picked is Druid. However, it is within only 1% of the majority of its counterparts, which makes me very happy. Do you have any guesses on what the number one most included class is of all level 65 combos?
Monk.
You only get one guess. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
Or mage. Or mage.
The Beast Lords have it. The Beast Lords have it. They are the most represented class at 65.
Wow.
Just better.
Yes. Beast on the high end, Druid on the low end. Everyone else.
And the delta between them isn't that extreme.
No,
Like,
it's not.
Can we hear what it is?
It's about twice.
Okay.
Yeah, which is honestly.
It sounds like a lot when you say twice, but you're talking about 16 classes, so
Right.
like it's not that actual large of a percentage.
Right. That's great.
But yeah, super cool. Some other interesting things. So the last poll we did was at level 60, where we had seen all 560 combos represented. There are still some combos that haven't hit 65.
Quite a few, actually.
What?
Yes, there are still some combos that haven't hit 65.
Anyone who tries to tell you that the meta is figured out and like the best class combos are known just because they're picked more is completely wrong. There's what 20% ish of possible combos that haven't been explored at 65 at all.
Just shy of 20%. Just shy of 20%. But yeah, there are some, and I'm looking at some of these combos and I'm like, see.
I
see the
explicitly
people-
mentioned one when I was shooting the shit with Broken earlier. I explicitly mentioned one that isn't represented at 65.
It will be soon.
That's
wanna share
probably
that?
good.
You want to share that one?
Oh yeah, sure. Beast Lord Ranger Wizard.
Yeah,
Like I
Yeah.
think that's probably really good.
it is really good.
There are no level 65s of it that
Fun fact.
on that data that I looked at.
Had that change to the artifact bow gone in, that particular unplayed combo would have been like theoretical max.
Yeah, that would be retarded. I can't even get over how good that would be. Oh my lord.
But anyways, those are some fun things that we're talking about that we saw. Really, really cool. Love seeing what we're seeing. I mean, over 20,000 level 65s is insane. Yeah, love you guys. All good things. So with that being said, with Easter covered, with some of that fun stuff with play modes covered, we've got. Actually, no, because every time that I go over the event log, people just ask questions about it. So I think we can go ahead and dive in. What say you, Broken?
Yes, let us do just that. This was Cybergun, I believe, who asked, any chance of expanding on the quests system by adding new or old quests to the UI quest journal? The initial quest to kill Nagi Vox, for example, was great.
So funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a shout out. Convection. Convection has been doing some really awesome things for the upcoming GOD launch. And yes, by the way, I know we don't talk about it a lot, but that is still being worked on in the background. And a huge shout out to Convection for the effort that he's put in. But when we're making a lot of these changes, there's an opportunity to taskify some of these quests. And on the longer, more complicated quests, not only does it feel right, but it is a significant UX improvement over the hailing and getting lost and trying to figure out where you're at or where you should be.
Especially in gates. Especially in gates.
So
Gates progression makes planes look straightforward.
Yeah. Yep. And so that being said, as we continue to roll out custom content, dungeon finder, play modes, achievements, there's a huge opportunity to use the task system over the quest system, and we intend on doing that because it's just better.
There's quite a bit of desire internally to go back and taskify older quests. I think Convection did a proof of concept of one of the epic quests given that treatment. Although I don't know if we're actually going to do that because it's a relatively large undertaking in total.
That could also have some unintended consequences with some of the epics you can skip today, which you would obviously no longer be able to do if they were task requests.
This is true.
I mean good.
This is true.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Features, not bugs.
Yeah. Operating as intended. Nerd Navigator says, I recall talks of a roadmap at some point, but don't know if I'm not looking in the right place or if the idea was scrapped. In the absence of that, how are timelines coming for the features you are comfortable talking about? Clicky bags, solo self-found hardcore, dungeon finder, gates of discord, advanced loot, and housing. Whistle.
Oh, nerd. Oh, nerd.
He started off so strong.
He did too. That was like legit. That was so legit. And then we just walked off a cliff. So it didn't get scrapped. We never made it public because the reality is that this is a passion project and people get upset that we're not working on this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even though some days we really do get close. We have all of those things still planned. And I mentioned earlier in the stream.
Hold on. All of those things? Because there were things that he mentioned in that list that we do not have planned.
No, clip it.
I mean,
No, everything.
Sorry.
Too late.
Housing is the only thing on that list that we haven't had a conversation about. I'll say that.
Ooh, so you're saying there's a chance?
I'm choosing my words wisely.
I'm willing to say at this point that it's never been more likely that advanced loot might happen.
Take my money.
That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
There have been some major UI hurdles overcome, and well, we're working.
It would be a significant amount of work, but it's outside of the impossible bucket at this point.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
So I'll just go ahead and do a brief, I'll do just a quick thing, right? So at the beginning of the stream, mentioned the next thing coming out being solo self-found hardcore with all the wonderful things that come along with that. And we're aiming for the 20th or 27th on that, followed shortly thereafter by July 4th events. And then the next milestone would be Dungeon Finder. We're gonna probably do a little renaming on that just because there's some confusion still around Dungeon Finder. So maybe like Dungeoneer or whatever it is that we decide to call it. That's going to be coming up after play modes, and that'll probably be 2 months after play modes. You'll see that probably. But GOD is going to be worked on after that dungeon system launches. But because we have so many people that we've brought on board, so many core team members and volunteers that are all just contributing in really interesting ways. The original roadmap is, still on. I think we had to move. I think we moved GOD back like maybe a couple weeks from what we initially planned, and that's after months of announcing the roadmap. So I feel really good, and not for nothing. We are seeing so many wonderful new quality of life, wonderful new system changes that weren't even on the roadmap. And the fact that we're able to do all of those things and still adhere to this is awesome in my book and makes me really happy. So I hope you all feel good about that too.
Wow. That's really great. I'm in love. Windy Whitewind says, "Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks as always for this awesome server. I know this was asked before, but has any more thought gone into druids, rangers being able to use their outdoor only spells inside? Really sucks not being able to use the druid lightning AoE spell indoors."
At this point, I think that
we just do it.
Yeah, I think we can just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Add it to the to-do list.
There was a point in time where it didn't feel right adding power to one of the classes that were considered to be out in front. But at this point, I think, and it's also going to thematically go really well with what we're leaning into on the back end. So yeah, we can make that a thing. Wendy, if you want to make a suggestion, if it's not already there, just to remind me, we should be able to do that. Or actually, if anyone's listening that actually has access to stuff, like go ahead and just
do a dev ask for it. I know Valor is in chat. Just open
Valor's here. Okay. Yeah, dev ask and we'll get it done.
Hell yes. Prolin asks, will there be a way to toggle passive AAs with a command so I can put them in a macro? My days of disabling riposte with a button are close at hand.
He keeps asking questions in chat that are just like prescient.
I know. It's almost as if he's looking at the event log and helping us to share information with people, which
Is he
would
is
be
he a
really-
ringer? Is that what you call when you see someone in the audience to ask the questions you want?
Yes,
I
that's
call
exactly
them
what that is.
plants or
Oh, wait.
seeds.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of
Oh, okay.
seeds in here.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, they're all in Variety Void's mailbox.
Oh my God. Send me all of them.
You heard him. Send the pearl necklaces. Variety Void. HJ Bros.
Just never. I discovered them, so it just fits.
So I'll go ahead and answer the actual question.
Okay.
Coming with the patch is, so you know how you have like alt activate as a command, you'll have alt toggle to turn off passive AAs. Additionally, I've gone ahead and added the alt activate and now alt toggle codes directly to the AA description as an automatic export process. So they'll always be tagged. Everything will always have that.
Yeah, that's a huge QL.
Cool. Dano22 asks, can the Gamble NPC get more rewards, namely prior event items?
Buddy, you should ask that.
Man, this chat tonight. This is so good. All of this is so good. So, yes, the casino will be updated probably shortly after the July 4th event. Actually, maybe even before that, if we do, well, just know that changes are coming to it. We do plan on what is there being rotated in a really fun way. So yes, there will be. But as new things come, old things will probably go.
Yep.
Nice. Riv This asks, thank you so much for the events. I love them. Can we get a tease of what sort of things are being rewarded for? So like what type of things the rewards are based upon? I've heard open eggs. Is that all?
Are we being explicit about this? Like we've
Not,
I kind of like, okay.
no, they're gonna find out tomorrow. There's
All right.
maybe just the class of actions which resulted in a reward, not the
okay,
like
that makes sense.
breakpoints.
Yeah. Okay, sure. No breakpoints, but okay. If you participated in this event by finding an egg, opening an egg, eating jelly beans, or destroying eggs, you will find yourself with some type of reward. That's right. You guys thought I was joking about bean weaving. Come on. Don't you min-max? Goodness.
Jesus.
People who don't bean weave isn't just insane to me. This is 2025.
Right.
If you're not,
it resets the GCD, of course. Like this is the optimal strategy to take. Why wouldn't you do this?
yeah, if you're not using a bean off GCD to reset it so you can eke out like another 2k DPS, are you even playing?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Someone asked if the type of egg matters. For all of those metrics, the type of egg mattered. Legendary counts for more than enchanted, counts for more than regular.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, we thought of all the things.
The rewards are account bound, not character bound. All of our events are account level tracking for participation, not character level.
Yes, and not only that, how are you going to get them? Well, what if you log in? Well, if you log in, you might get a little message that tells you that you have rewards to claim. And it might tell you how to claim those rewards. Wouldn't that be nice?
Claiming those rewards might be really easy.
It might be.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Zanarnar says, I noticed new necromancers get 1 rank in destructive cascade, but can't crit dots normally, and don't get a rank of critical affliction. Could they get one of those options? Natural dot crits would rock. Thanks again for this amazing server. All the hard work is appreciated.
Hey, Kata, do you think Necros should have an innate dot crit like wizards have on spell crit?
Yeah, I think. Wait, didn't we do that already? Don't each of the dot classes have like an innate dot crit rate?
I know we talked about it. Did it never get shipped?
Someone open a dev ask for me to figure out what we did there.
Whoops.
The short answer to your question is yes. Zanarnar.
Nar.
No, it's almost like Reyna is saying no.
Nar.
I think we wanted good UX about it. And I think that was where the conversation ended, and I just never followed through. That's on me. Sorry, guys.
Okay, well that's okay. I mean, they reminded us. Also, that Reyna comment on point. Nar.
Love you, Reyna. Anyway.
I completely missed that comment.
It's her accent. So she doesn't say no. She says no. Not Dread says, when Plane of Time P1 through 3 skip was introduced, there was a mention that made me think all Plane of Time mobs would be able to drop the quintessence, but it doesn't seem to have happened. Can you explain what happened there?
Sure. So that was someone talking about what they thought would happen and not what actually was going to happen.
It's actually super common. I get one like every other run.
Yeah, it's there. We did increase the drop chances though from the mobs they already came with. So
well, there you go. Cool. Candyman says, I can see on the test log that Necropotence and Shadow Curse will soon proc from melee and ranged attacks. Will we have to wait a month for that to come into effect? Remember you not wanting to do patches with the new live TLP.
It's not that we didn't want to do new patches. It's that we didn't want to do new content drops. So like we didn't want to launch Dungeon Finder or Solo Self-Found Hardcore the same time that the TLPs are going live. That's not nice to do to them.
Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. So should be soonish.
TM.
Actually, Kat, that's a really good question. This downtime tomorrow, is it going to be pulling everything that's on test?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk after this.
I know who's not sleeping tonight.
Just a couple things that we're going to talk about.
Okay. Well,
don't accept any more PRs.
I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Everything's fine. It's fine.
Okay, yeah. Nothing's on fire.
It's fine.
Nothing's on fire. Trill Vanilli asks, Shadow Curse SKA is super fun with a lot of flavor, but as an SK Bard Wizard enjoyer, the number of corpses spawned causes all kinds of issues with kiting. Any chance we can have a more functionality to dismiss the corpses on demand or toggle the ability on or off?
We're going to do you one even better because Kata already has working on test a way to control your swarm pets.
And turn the AA off if you want to. Although I probably should add get lost to the commands that swarm pets will accept so you can dismiss them.
Will they explode when you dismiss them?
Only if you have the new corpse explosion AA.
Oh, solid. I thought so.
What?
Will it explode in my house, my player-made house?
I never implemented the corpse explosion SPA. Like it's not ready.
That was me being sarcastic. I'm so sorry, Kata.
Oh, there is a just to be clear, there is a corpse explosion spell effect. It's just partially implemented.
There's a
Yes.
couple like that.
Hot.
Hot.
All right. This was a question on Discord. Does XP bonus apply to item XP as well as player and AA XP?
Yep.
Yes. There's your answer.
Ding, ding, ding.
Another Discord question. Are there any alternatives to leveling blacksmithing? The mid 100s has a huge bottleneck of needing leather padding and an abysmal drop rate on animal skins to get.
If it's a trade skill, it's probably broken.
I wish you would stop saying that because they're not as bad as you make them out to be. Like, they need some TLC, but they're not awful.
I basically consider trade skills an unsupported feature at this point.
You are terrible, and you don't say the quiet part out loud. We've gone over this.
Oh, God.
So one good thing here, though, right, is we did add the ability, or not the ability, but rather a fallback to where you should get a skill up every 4 crafts, no matter what. So it's gotten way easier than it was, and it feels pretty good too because it's random.
Okay.
Apparently, you can make ethereal plates to level up 212.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
On the same topic of trade skills, trade skiller question from Tyroon Death. Trade skill bags. There's already a trade skill bag, extra planar satchel using fantastic pelts and extra planar silk from a later expansion. Can these items be added?
So there's a lot of types of bags that we want to add. They will be there, and they're probably going to be rewards from the Dungeoneer system.
Oh, God. Okay. Awesome. Big Taima says, will there ever be any multi-class specific AA? For example, Warrior Berserker gets AA to dual wield 2-hand weapons. We're hearing this one a lot lately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Kata says no, and it's really weird for me to be on this side of the fence. The runway for the hero's journey is long. The replayability when solo self-found and the achievement system comes out, and the things that we are going to tie to doing self-found, solo self-found, hardcore, and the achievement system and the pending seasonal system, I could see in the long run there being some interesting things for completing certain achievements with certain class combinations to do certain things. I can see that.
Okay, I say nope to will there ever be this, but I'm coming from a place where we specifically had like a very in-depth conversation about why that was a bad idea. However, when you frame it the way that you did just now, okay, maybe.
I'm known for my words.
My concern is that
you don't have to say anymore.
That's a lot of AAs, man. That's a lot of AAs.
Listen, when the game is fun, the people will grind.
No, I don't mean it's a lot of AAs to like grind out, like get like 100 AAs in a minute. I mean, like it's a lot of AAs to make. That's
we have
That's
faith
okay.
in you.
By the time we're ready to launch, AI will do it all for us.
Truth.
Maybe. I bet I could get Claude to generate AAs now, actually.
Since we're on the theme of trolling, Hero Trader asks, now that PvP has been confirmed with housing, will we be getting a PvP?
Housing, hell yeah, brother.
Sounds good.
Shank you in your own house.
Love you.
That's right.
Next question, please.
Everyone, okay, hear me out. Everyone gets teleported to EC when you queue up. You've got 2 minutes to build your house, and then the PvP ensues.
Is this EverQuest Fortnite?
Every time you die, your house loses 1 durability. When it hits none, you can't respawn. I love it.
I like it. Okay, awesome. When does this game mode come out?
What Solo Still Found? You didn't hear earlier?
Oh, nice. Perfect. Man, Caddy, you've really been working really hard. Okay. Next.
He's in his car
breathing.
driving away.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
God.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so next Discord question. Any idea on how to get THJ working with the Lutris on Stream Deck or Steam Deck? I followed the wiki instructions to do it with bottles and flat seal, and it works on desktop mode, but when I go to gaming mode and launch it, I just get a black screen until I end the game following this guide, and it's a link to the wiki.
The answering that question is out of scope of this format.
Mhm.
You can hit me up on Discord.
Ooh,
Aw.
that's
Cal
awfully
likes
nice.
the big brain questions.
He does.
And actually, I'll do you one better there. If you make a bug report with that exact thing plus the link, there are other people that could probably benefit from the answer to that question.
I actually I ordered a Steam Deck recently for the express purpose of figuring out how to do a proper setup guide for it.
You're the man.
So,
Oh, that's awesome.
EHJ on the go. Hell yeah.
Next Discord question. Rumor has it THJ has acquired a copy of the Lorien Song client. Is that true? If so, what does this mean for the future of eMuse, THJ specifically?
what?
Hang on. Hold on. Let me carefully craft a response to this. So we have made an internal decision to stay on the client that we are on unless we create our own custom client, and to not take anything from future clients, because what we've created here is precious, and the community that we have is precious, and we don't want to do anything that could potentially jeopardize that. So the answer to that is no.
Easy enough. All right, getting into the harder questions here. Rel Kozen says, are you happy with Necro performance and by extension dot classes with the most recent update, or is there more in the near future for them to look forward to?
I don't know about near future, but they're definitely in a way better place than they were. And I can say, so here's the thing, right? When we're looking at classes, we look at them holistically. We're not just looking at like how they're doing against Zeb, right? Like I see solo self-found, hardcore, the play modes, the achievements, the repeatable runway as being the lifeblood of the hero's journey. So how classes feel when you're starting out from scratch and trying to progress through all content solo or with a friend, that's what I'm looking at. And in that regard, I think they're in a really good spot.
Fair enough. Bluebird Dog says, would it be possible to add in a difficulty slider to DZs? For example, soloing Sleeper as a 6-person difficulty.
Yeah, that's planned. It's a little bit backburnered for a few different reasons, but we'll do it at some point.
Awesome. Then what you do is you add rewards for people who do it on a hardcore character.
I mean, listen, when we start doing Dungeon Finder and people start completing things, and then all of a sudden they find themselves unlocking harder versions, that would be really cool.
Oh,
that would be really cool, actually.
Jesus. Listen, you guys,
hard mode.
Pants are getting way too tight as it is. We're going to exceed the 4-hour boner limit. Fair enough. Death Star asks, good evening. Thanks for all that you guys do. As a person who doesn't play Minion Master, I find it unfair that if you do not play one of the pet classes, you can't utilize the major pet focus items. Any plans on changing that? Would love for my Druid Shaman to be able to have buff pets. If it can't be added to the usable classes, how about an AA that would allow for them to buff pets? Thank you.
So
I'm
if you take, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, please.
We had a conversation about using the existing pet power stat points and then extrapolating linear scaling for all other pets based on those, and doing that in code rather than in the database. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that exactly, other than I think that pet focuses are like a really weird outlier to how focus items in general work. And I'd really like to take a hard look at how that whole system functions at some point.
So that being true, and I agree with looking at how that system functions. To more answer the question that he asked, the way that I had envisioned it and the way that it's currently working is you do need one pet class with those other classes to benefit from that pet focus, and they do. So if you have any pet class in your build with your druid or your shaman or your SK, you can benefit from those pet focuses. So for instance, the bear pet continues to scale and grow with pet focus. So do the wolves. You just have to be able to get access to that. And it was purposely left as tied to pet classes because without it, it's a rather large power increase without any type of planning.
Itemization, right? Like should be part of your build as opposed to just free.
It's true. What do I get by picking this class? And it's a very valid question to ask when you're making your character.
Yeah, I like that. Cap'n Cube says, is the new heroic strength buff a trial for Gates of Discord content as a way to mitigate the level 70 bump?
No. So the 8 strength buff came from underperformance and the overall feel of melee classes compared to their spellcasting counterparts. I don't mind saying that H strength will probably be tweaked in some way, but it's largely going to continue to feel the way that it does, at least up until this point. So looking ahead, as more heroic strength becomes available, as we move into gates and to gates and GOD, gates and omens, every point of heroic strength over a certain amount will probably have some type of diminishing returns, a type of soft cap, if you will. But in general, the first 100 to 200 points is working about as you would expect it to. And we like what it has done, aside from certain outlier cases that we're looking at on what we should do, if we should do anything. But how it behaves is correct with how we want classes to feel.
Do you want to piggyback that into this question right here?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Shawshanker says, power creep concern. Recent changes have introduced a new form of power creep. Heroic strength monk builds now outperform ranger builds in burst damage, even exceeding damage output seen during the attack mode range bug. How concerned are you about the shift in balance?
So a shift in balance is not a concern to me at all. We're going to continue to see shifts in balance throughout the entire course of the hero's journey. That's a good thing. Things will not remain stagnant for too long, and the changes that we make will be to make more classes feel better and to make sure that a few specific class combos don't reign supreme to the degree that it actually reduces player choice by basically not having any options. So right now we do see some outliers that will get addressed. But specifically talking about ranger builds, I cannot tell you specifically what we're going to be doing, but some things that we have tossed around that we are probably going to enact some sort of is allowing the ranger bow to benefit from 100 hands effects. And also to re-look at what quivers do for bow haste. So, for instance, if there were more quivers available across more expansions, and those quivers actually gave 100 hands type of effect instead of a muted haste effect, you would see some pretty neat things. So just know that if there are large disparities that exist, we will absolutely work on them. We will make sure that all classes feel good.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the UX around quiver haste in particular. It's such a weird mechanic, and it's not discoverable unless you know about it already. So I don't know how much that process is going to end up moving the needle in terms of actual effect for quivers, but it'll at least be like much more easy to understand what's happening. No, we're not unfixing the bug. No.
TX Hurricane says, hope you guys are doing well. Just wanted to express my appreciation yet again for all you guys do. After working in IT for 30 years, I can honestly say your team is positively awesome.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that.
Hell yeah. Nathaniel says, hi, Aporia and Orcata. How are you? How was the week? What are your thoughts on where things are landing damage DPS wise after recent changes? Kind of outlined that a little bit, but how are you feeling overall about what it is and the changes that you made?
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving how many class comps just became viable in a very real way. And I'm very happy with that. Like I said, there are some outliers that need to be addressed, but in general, it was a great change. It was definitely the right direction, if not, exactly where it needed to be, but definitely the right direction. And thanks. I'm doing good. I had a great week. I'm happy to be here now.
Gregor Clegane says, should minions be able to fear Vexthal bosses? And if so, was that designed just to kill Keston TV?
No, but yes. In order, no, but yes.
So the new I don't know how much you guys are aware of some of the new fun things that are happening with the Necromancer and Shadow Knight pets, but basically you're raising them and they're getting all their buffs and their abilities and stuff. So what they're doing is they're proccing blind on things and they're causing things to jet like 1,000,000 miles an hour, running away and things.
This is my favorite thing. I think it's important to note that I'm a huge fan of Dwarf Fortress, and I subscribe to the Dwarf Fortress concept of fun.
At least 3 people know what you're talking about.
You got to be, come on, gotta give us more.
Losing is fun.
Oh, okay. Losing is fun. Heard.
And that's why I'm in charge of balance and UX. Next.
Bobby Flay says, I missed the last Q&A to ask the question, but a couple of weeks I suggested to make 2 separate Doppel A's which share a cooldown. One that focuses more on spell damage and casting, while the other AA focus more on the melee abilities, such as Frenzy and or Backstab. That way you can balance them differently if needed. Thoughts?
The overall feeling here is that we've already given Doppel a lot of attention, and where they are now feels good. I would love to see them have a place now that we have now that we have the code that allows us to do those things. It would be interesting to see that. It would also be interesting to see other classes be able to do something similar as a knob that we can turn for balance. So as of right now, Doppels are going to stay the way that they are. We're happy to have moved on from the Doppel conversation, but I could see things being added and or adjusted in the future as we need to.
I would rather give Shadow Knights a shadow that's a doppel that only does melee.
Warrior.
Warrior needs nothing else.
I don't know. Warrior's feeling pretty weak. I watched a video recently that talked about how strong or weak Warriors were. I don't know.
You know, I've watched an alarming number of videos, and it's just so interesting to me how people feel so differently about the exact same class combos.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
wild to me.
Huh.
Zeb only dies in 30 seconds, guys. I think they need a buff.
Boy, do you know anything about any such videos?
I've never heard of it. Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking. Comma 77 TW. Can we please get another parcel guy in the bazaar? Sometimes when too many around him can be a pain to click on it. Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, this is a good opportunity to remind people. There's a command that lets you jump from bazaar to bazaar.
It's called
Zone
Zone
shard. So if you're ever in a place where you need to access something and it's blocked for whatever reason, you can use zone shard to move to a different one.
That's a good point, though.
There kind of is a command to hide all PCs. It stands still for 60 seconds or whatever.
Not even in Bazaar, it's like half a second.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay. Can we get want to buy and want to sell filtered from general chat? Maybe warn folks we have an auction channel they can use.
Like OOC chat?
This
Is that really that big of a deal?
That's what
I think this is Fat Matt. So basically,
So the problem is if we did, like, sure, I there's nothing that would stop me from automatically redirecting everything said in OOC that starts with want to sell or want to buy over to the auction channel. Like that's very easy to do. The problem is that all that would happen is people would start putting something else at the start of their messages because they're
yeah.
They do things like that.
Right. They know the auction channel exists. They're trying to hit people who have ignored the auction channel. Let's be honest.
Correct. So like
finds a way.
Exactly. I mean, I could do it. This is playing whack-a-mole in like an absurd way.
Jesus. The Red Furno, with some of the absolute wrecking of heroic strength, is it a place you like or does it need some tuning?
It needs some tuning.
I don't mind repeating this because I think it's important. There are some things about it that need some tuning. And it will be, but it's never going to go back to the way that it was. Having the class combinations that we have right now that are viable, I want them all to remain viable. So whatever gets tweaked will get tweaked only to a degree that allows them to still progress.
Yeah.
But yes, some changes will come.
Oh, this is a tangent, but someone brought something up in Twitch chat that should have been a question or should have been something. How do you feel about account? How do you feel about ignore just being account wide?
Please.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I could probably do that. So if you ignore someone, you ignore all of their characters on their account. Period.
Oh
my God!
Yeah.
Yes.
I love
yeah.
that.
Ken. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rip Maris.
Open Valor. Open a dev ask for that. I'm pretty sure I know how to do that, but I don't want to forget to do that.
Cries
Yeah,
and
that's
Sora.
fantastic.
Let's see here. Ravon Lunatic says, any chance of more spellbook pages?
Nope. Sorry.
Oh, it's just, listen, you guys have been unlocking magical chest after magical chest.
Yeah, I know. This one I really can't do. It's a fixed size array somewhere in the client that's referenced in a billion places. It's just not happening.
Just gave us 24 plus characters, and nope.
Yeah, I know.
I give
We're all
it, I
like,
give
are
it 2
you
weeks.
sure?
I give it
Yeah,
2 weeks.
I'm 100% sure that is actually impossible.
You heard it here first. Coming soon.
With the housing and PvP.
Housing,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's coming with housing and PvP. Exactly.
The Orange Druid asks, let's start with the hard questions. Why does the server not let me pick the name El Chupacabra? It doesn't say it's taken by another.
No,
I have longer
it's
names.
Chalupa. It's Chalupacabra, not El
Yes.
Chupacabra. That is Chalupacabra.
Nope. Same thing.
Uh,
It's amazing.
I don't see why you shouldn't be able to have that name. If can you name change into it? That should work. If that doesn't work, if that actually doesn't work, DM me. I want to make this happen.
I was about to say, I'm actually looking right now into the character database. Give me 1 second. Hold on.
We can piggyback that to another comment about housing when.
The reason you can't take it is because it belongs to a level 17 that actually was created quite recently. Someone beat you to the Chalupacabra.
Unfreaking believable.
So sorry, sir.
We do have ads starting in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So let's see.
Apparently, ads are now, according to chat.
Oh, it didn't even give me a notification. All right. Well, then let's do housing when.
Oh, dude, it just last week too. I hit delay ads. It was like, nope, we're gonna play them right now.
It's
If
Twitch
you
has been
actually
really
want
lately.
housing to happen, I actually know who you should talk to because
Who?
I'm probably not going to do it, but like it's in
sorry,
the
what?
client. There's someone
Who?
who's been steadily adding weird client features. I
Mhm.
say weird, but they've been steadily working on client features that have been previously ignored. I'm not going to say their name on stream because I don't know if they want the attention.
Okay,
But
so
I'll
It's
talk
Malik,
to-
isn't it?
you'll DM them to me, and I will give them feet rubs or something. And
Yeah, I'll tell you who you should talk to if
Pearl
awesome.
necklaces.
Let's see if we got any other.
Every time I hear player housing, I just think about landmark and get sad.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
My
Hey.
voxel builder.
Hey, here's an idea for you. We add a bridge between a Minecraft server and THJ. So people who want player housing.
Yo,
you click on the
We-
gate, and it literally
No.
takes you there.
oh man, like could you imagine like you go to Tyrrell and you're like, hi, I'd like to go. wait, we
God.
could totally do this in Roblox.
did you make Tangia dungeons and Minecraft Heroes Journey?
I refuse to have anything to do with Roblox, but yeah.
I think it's a natural evolution here.
I would call it
Jeez.
a devolution, but yeah.
Devolution.
My God. I'm just,
I like how player housing went from never to, you know what? I know a guy. All in like an hour.
Listen,
I know a guy.
we just got to keep pressing things. Eventually, we're gonna get bigger spell books too.
Oh, dude, yeah, we know it's possible now.
It's not possible.
Honestly,
I've heard you say that before.
Kata is like the CIA's dream. Like you just have to show him images enough times or like whisper things to him enough. And then all of a sudden one day he's going to be like, hey, guess what I'm doing today?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Oh no. Did you just realize that some of your choices weren't your own?
None of your choices are your own. Free will's an illusion.
Do you have that mute button handy?
Oh,
Interlinked.
God.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
No crickets.
I'm thinking like, okay, so it is a fixed size array is the problem.
Cells interlinked within cells interlinked within cells interlinked.
I don't know if that's a reference to.
How I really believe we live in two separate realities, and Discord is what connects us. I genuinely believe that.
You've bet me in person.
Yeah, was it you though? I don't know. Like, I don't know if that was actually you.
Agent
Well,
Smith
there's a whole
confirmed.
philosophical argument about like perception versus reality versus like, and then of course there's the whole like simulation hypothesis.
Okay, you guys got 30 minutes
okay.
and we're not going to break down philosophy.
Well,
God.
you
All
gotta go
right.
make my joke serious.
Sisik says, is it feasible to add a faction tab in the future?
A faction? Yeah, sure.
Hell yeah.
I was about to say, with everything that we're doing, I sure hope so.
I love that.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Is there like a significant desire for that?
Yeah. I would say that that's one of the questions that I see in OOC as well as my new guild quite a bit.
Is that like a thing on?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay. I'll look into that like in 2 months or so.
Bigger spell books interlinked.
What is this a reference to?
Player PvP housing. Minecraft server THJ.
All right. Since Sapor's laughing, Xenofall wants to say legendary dungeons of the hero's journey.
What is interlinked?
Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's been a long time since I've seen Blade Runner, and then the new one was like kind of bad, so it kind of ruined the old one for me retroactively.
You will not talk bad about my Ana de Armas. Anything that she was in, aside from that one movie, was terrible.
Who?
It's 9:03.
Joy. She was
27 minutes to get through 39 questions.
Yeah. Matter of fact, actually, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop the question asking right now. So that is going to be turned off. Congratulations, the Orange Druid. You got one in there, but I don't know if we'll get to it yet because we have 40 questions. Let's see.
Real quick, last distraction. Just to be clear, you like Luckland models, but you don't like the new Blade Runner.
Yeah, the new Blade Runner is extreme, very bad.
I just wanted to get that out in the open. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Somebody should probably clip that too.
Yep.
Magnus says, can we have auto attack not turn off after killing an NPC, making us only turn off attack when we press attack again, losing valuable DPS time when having to retarget the next NPC on the list?
No.
Oh, well, because it's Magnus. Love you, buddy. But apparently not.
Yeah. Apparently we love you, but
I've sunk like 15 hours into trying to figure out how to do that in the past, even though I wasn't sure we wanted it from a design perspective, and no joy.
That tracks.
Wow. And Darius Rosethorn says, any chance we can get a variant on Old Man Mackenzie missions from live, or is this very adjacent to the Dungeon Finder idea? Do you know what OMM is?
No.
Okay, so
yeah, probably. So I know what it is, and probably not. At least not in the same way. Like it's no.
Tangentially related things, but no.
I feel like I know the answer to this one, but this one's Vegas the Great says, would it be technically possible and something you would be open to doing to allow dire charm mobs to be able to cross zone boundaries?
No. It's both technically not possible and no.
D Smith 22, does Ward of Purity work? I never notice it working.
What does the
I
Word of
hope
Purity do?
so? Question mark.
What does the Word of Purity do?
Yeah.
Doesn't it just remove diseases and poisons and stuff from
I
you?
think that's what it does.
Yeah,
I
like
bet
it's
it
just
doesn't
it's
work.
like a ward that removes them.
I bet it either doesn't work or the effect is so minor it doesn't matter. Why don't you open a bug report and I can investigate that?
I like that.
Crucible drop rates versus Zeb Vortex drop rates seem out of whack, especially looking at Bazaar prices. Any fixes in the future?
Oh, there's nothing to
Nothing.
fix.
Nothing planned. But if it's something that we need to take a look at, I don't mind taking like an 8th look at it.
Yeah, the Vortex drop rate was kind of set with like the impression that Zeb wasn't going to die that often. And then, time moved on and people figured out the fight and now he dies a lot. So it's kind of common.
Dark Animus says, as we aren't getting actual Eldon, is any of the Eldon group and raid loot being added to other things, namely Dungeon Finder? I really want my 30 AC Augs and Shard of Eternal Pain, Pet Proc Aug.
Oh my god, I want that too.
I don't think it's currently planned, but it's something to discuss.
So we've discussed using Eldon rewards as currency rewards for the Dungeon Finder.
Faded Time says, what is your favorite feature you brought to THJ that is already live, and a brief why?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Where are you first?
That's a tough one.
Beep.
My favorite feature.
If you don't have an answer, I have a snap answer.
Oh, you go first then, and I'll.
Pet bags.
Pet bags is a good one. Yeah,
I love those too.
I honestly wish that it was really feasible to do like a proper pet inventory with slots and stuff. But that's the next best thing, and I like the that it moves some of the progression of like how good your pets are away from, I got a new spell or I got a new pet focus into, I invested in gearing my pet up.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of our tiered loot system. And while we know how to do it differently now, I do think the net effect has been just really enjoyable and positive. And the decision to keep those items on the mobs they dropped from and just the way that we did the chances, I just think that and multi-classing really, that's just it, But next.
Riv This says, is there any thoughts about tuning mobs to major raid events like that happened with the dojo guys the other day? The Tangerine.
I think okay. So we've already said that there's room to play with how things scale, and in fact, if we were to really sit down and talk about that, I think the difficulty scaling on mobs and the loot provided in general is probably one of the things that we should really figure out sooner than later. And we've talked about that multiple times, and we haven't moved on it because there's always something else to do.
So I don't know how much into like the sausage making is appropriate to go into right here, but
we have 20 minutes for 30 more questions.
Okay, I'll be quick then. The short version is that I think it's really fun to have people like team up and do unreasonably difficult mobs that are basically impossible due to scaling. But there's no way to give like a real reward for that. That's nothing anything but a meme. Because we can't have like raid scaled gear here. Because that's not the point of the server. And if you get 40 people together to go do a mob and it just drops like 40 rolls off its loot table, no one wants that. So it's a lot of effort for a meme thing. rather than something that people are going to engage with in a real way.
Fair. Godwin Red 99 says, what do you think in the disparity of AUG usage across Kara and Saru? I'm going on a month plus of Kara 3 times a day without seeing an enchanted or Lego blocking dodging AUG. 2 AUGs are 10 to 15 in the value compared to others.
I had a conversation with Apori about this earlier before the Q&A that I'd like to remind him of and say nothing else.
I think what you talked about is not what he's talking about, but that's funny.
I think it is, but we can talk about that more later.
Okay. But I guess we should probably actually answer the question. So I mean, some items are always going to be more useful than other items, or more sought after than other items. I hate to say it, but that's just really bad luck. Like that's really bad luck, and I'm sorry that that's a thing, but yeah.
Blue Steel Wheel says, I'm curious if you keep track of how many bugs you have squashed. I read the bug forums, and there are some unsung heroes like Akali and Voidless, and numerous others working nonstop. It's amazing to be able to watch the progress.
Yeah, so I always talk about it at the end of the stream, but I'll use this as an opportunity. We have an exceptional team with some wonderful volunteers supporting that team. And what they do is wonderful. And both Akali and Voidless are on the team. And, you know, in terms of keeping track, we do have an archive from everything that's posted in Discord. And there have been thousands of bugs that have been fixed. Thousands. And it is really cool to see. Where we are today is just miles from where we were when we started, and it's only getting better. So thanks for being along for the ride.
Yeah. In the words of, I think it was Newton, stand on the shoulders of giants.
KCEQ, disclaimer, I understand the prismatic scale of elements has incredible stats, the best even on an AUG. Question, can you consider adding something that benefits melee, either a skill mod or something like that, so the prismatic strike isn't completely useless on a build?
I think that item's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity for more custom items and AUGs, and you will see them coming out with maybe not when Dungeon Finder launches, but using that system. So while it probably won't be on that item, there's a lot of room for some pretty cool stuff in the future.
Rawl asks, is there some way to increase the map label font size? Playing on 2K and 4K, even with Windows override DPI scaling, the font is so small. Is there anything on your end or something to increase the font?
So my suggestion is, instead of using the DPI override to change the font size, there's a program that you can get on Steam called lossless scaling, and run the game at a lower resolution via lossless scaling.
There was a question.
There's a guide somewhere in Discord. I don't remember which section it's in specifically. That was put up pretty early on that Drake did, which details how to go about that. But EQ really wants to be run at 1080p, running at 1440p absolute tops, but anything more than that, you're going to be suffering in terms of font size. And the font size rendering is fixed size. There's nothing we can realistically do to increase that.
There was a question from somebody about whether or not you guys were thinking or would consider including the lossless scaling and things like that with the download client.
We can't. Lossless scaling is not something that we can distribute.
Easy enough. Sarkden says, can we get an option to turn in multiple parchments runes at once and receive an equal amount of spells back?
Yeah, that's been on the to-do list for a minute.
Z Spida says, will other heroic stats be given an extra benefit? Example, how heroic strength gives 1% damage crit, or int giving something like percent wise towards melee casters?
We answered this a little bit last week, but basically, heal amount was added to items based on H-Wiz, and spell damage was added to items based on H-Int. So there are some things that are out there. We've talked about adjusting some things and adding some things, but the reality is that aside from some tweaks that we need to do because of recent changes we made, overall we're pretty happy where things are at right now. But you never know. Stay tuned.
Gene Toll asks, is the dot scaling going to be adjusted in the next update? Right now, the higher end tops out at level 100 for most dots.
That's a misunderstanding about what you're seeing when you look at the scaling on like a website or the blue text on the spell description. The formula theoretically extends out to a level 100, but the scaling at the level 65 is what's intended for the damage to be done. I do think that there are some changes to some dot damage on test right now, though. Was that why your voice was getting high pitched steadily earlier for you?
I don't think I understand.
When he was talking about all the stuff from test being pushed to prod, you may have changed your tonality.
Oh, I was specifically talking about the H strength change.
Yeah, I haven't accepted that PR. That's fine.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured we needed to test it first, and we had a release coming, so
exactly. I'm so proud.
I wasn't going to grab it just like right off the rip.
I'm so proud of you.
Man,
so proud of you, Kevin.
Yeah, you guys are really jiving. Probably not as exciting as other questions, but was there an adjustment to item level recently? It feels like gear is leveling much slower. Started during the Easter event, so maybe there was a bonus during that, and now it's back to normal.
Yeah, Season of the Hare affected item leveling rates.
And I don't mind saying this one out loud because we've done it for the past 3 events and we intend to continue doing it. So the world buffs that come out during the events are awesome. We will continue to give items that allow a temporary grant to the entire server for some of those buffs. We've done it every event so far, and we will continue to do that.
Shawshanker says, Mage Elemental Form, Earth, the hit point buff no longer stacks with mount hit point buffs. The issue began about 2 weeks ago before the Planes of Power launch. It was working correctly before then.
So there's a couple of things to unpack there. Mounts shouldn't have hit point buffs, is one of them.
They shouldn't?
But I don't think any. I don't think that there was a stacking change there.
Mounts definitely have hit point buffs.
Yeah, so we'll offline that one. So a couple things. It shouldn't have changed how it stacked. And we'll just take that as the official answer.
10-4.
Create a bug report, Shaw.
Any interest in adding bard skills to armor pre-pop? Losing your range and offhand for epic really limits choices. I'm doing self-imposed solo self-found.
You know, I don't think that's actually the worst idea I've ever heard. Maybe as Augs?
I think there's going to be more options with the odds that are coming out with Dungeon Finder.
Well,
And
that
you'll
doesn't really. Sorry, go ahead.
And you'll have access to those sooner than later, right? So you have to think like Dungeon Finder becomes a part of the game that you would expect to unlock at level 50. So even in Classic, you would have access to certain things you normally wouldn't. So
Okay.
D. Smith wants to know if there's any free character respecs coming.
probably when the heroic strength change goes live.
Any ETA on Clicky Bag release?
July event.
And we're not ready for that level of troll yet. I love that there were so many of them though. God damn, there's so many trolly ones.
I blame you for memeing on housing.
You know what? All right, never mind. All right, so Nerd Navigator says, now that Battle Royale mode has been announced, are we getting additional dance emotes on the EM?
Next, please.
Yes, I would like to dance on my enemies.
Battle
appreciate
Royale
that much.
mode that you confirmed. Do we fly in on our pet dragons or a school bus drop?
I love everything about this.
You know, Battle Royale mode. We could do that.
I know. No, I Skunkworks.
Okay.
Can I get some support for streamers and devs for my next Sweat Dojo event? Naked No Mercy Knockout.
You know what? Sure.
Okay, streamers maybe. I will not commit devs.
I'm committing myself. I'll help you out with that.
No, that's the opposite of what we want to happen.
Oh God. Let's see here. If we can't have bigger spell books, can we get smaller spells?
We could start deleting low-level spells that are completely pointless, like True North or Flare. Like, we could do that.
Suddenly, we found a way, guys. We found a way.
I actually really like this question, and I think that this is going to maybe take up a little bit more time. But I did like this one. If you had an unlimited budget to hire 5 devs with very specific EverQuest dev experience, what 5 skills experience would you hope to find? Like UI, 3D modeling, trade skills, etc. Also, I'll throw on there player housing.
As you should.
I'm gonna not answer this question personally.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a cool thought experiment. I can tell you from my own personal experience what I would love, right? So I would love if we had someone that was dedicated to creating our own client. I would love if we had someone that was dedicated full time to 3D modeling and custom things like that. I would love if we had someone that was dedicated to not new content, but the streamlining of old content. So think about the taskification of all quests, like that type of UX improvement is huge. I wish I had someone that was devoted just to a custom UI for us, making sure that everything is visible and flows correctly and nicely, and that it can be customized in the way that we want it. Yeah, that would be great.
I could see, like, granted, not a coder, not a dev, want to preface this real quick, but even just being able to have somebody that like was on the original dev team that would be able to translate some of the stuff so you guys didn't have to dig and tinker and fiddle.
We literally can't have that.
Yeah, that's not a thing we can have. But
Well, I know, but like
I like
this
where
is
you're
a
at, Doug.
dream. Like this is like a fantasy situation, right? Anna de Armas in your office right
many
now.
blessings, many blessings.
If you ever decide necros need more love, an AA to spread the dots on their current target to all mobs in a small range, 10, 15 would rock. We already have bees.
We have bees, but we have talked about something like that. And like if we were ever to do a corpse explosion type thing, like that would be perfect. Like if it dies with
It spreads all of its remaining dots and it spreads all. If a mob dies with dots on it, it blows up and AoEs all of its dots with their remaining number of ticks on it to all the mobs nearby.
yeah, something like that would be cool.
That
That'd be
is
fun.
amazing. Will solo self-found hardcore get mad if echoes of memory have swarms of mobs near them? Then they die. I don't think that's how that works, but it's really trolly. It's funny.
So I'll just go out a little bit on a limb here. We're not going to be intervening with things that happen to hardcore characters outside of actual bugs that are our fault. That said, if we find anyone deliberately trolling hardcore characters to get them killed, they will not have a good day.
Oh, no. If I find anyone griefing hardcore characters, just know that for a dev, you don't have to be a hardcore character to be deleted. Yeah? So be nice.
What if it's me and I'm very specifically trolling VV's hardcore character?
As long as it doesn't die, that's fine.
Oh,
we'll just enable PvP on you. It's fine.
That's actually the correct play, to be completely honest.
That would be hilarious.
Hey, Kata, here's a question. Is there a way we could get it to literally turn PvP on for a player to where they could be attacked but can't attack back?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, cool. We got to talk about that. I think that's a wonderful punishment mechanism.
Good God.
First to engage THA edition.
Jesus. The Shaman and Druid both share charm animal. Druid at 23 and Shaman at 32. How does that work when having both classes at level 32? They both work.
Do they really both get charm? Do they both get charm animal?
They do.
Okay, so this is like getting into the guts a little bit. I'm actually not sure what would happen, but I'm pretty sure that which one gets it at a lower level? Druid. I'm pretty sure that shamans could charm an animal and it wouldn't count as it would count as a druid pet for them rather than a shaman pet. So they could have both their spirit animal and a charmed animal at the same time. I'm pretty sure that's how that would work.
That's kind of cool.
Which is a bug, by the way, that I'm not really sure how to fix, but that's a thing.
And with 1 minute left, go ahead.
Yeah, it responds to Druid Pet command. That's absolutely what happens then. So you could have a shaman's accidental low level buff with charm animal.
There you go.
I'm not going to fix that probably, to be blunt.
That's One Morning Coffee, our local THJ recent partner, Bear Lover. Are we hype training early or late today, fellas? So saith the Rern Smash. No,
I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't.
You've answered this one in the past, but I think this is a good one. Will public announcements such as Reforged Sword of Truth include solo self-found hardcore labels for those in the game modes?
Yeah, so there's a lot of polish that needs to be brought in there. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to highlight, especially about solo self-found and especially about hardcore solo self-found characters. I really want to publicly highlight their achievements and defeats. And exactly how that gets implemented is a little bit still TBD.
Yeah, that's fair.
Dark Animist, SK Necro, Swarm Pet control coming is great, but the visibility using them is awful and makes the game hard to play. Will you consider implementing a perma song buff via clicky or AA to auto illusion and max shrink these pets? We can shrink or change them in any way now.
So yeah, there's actually some design space that we probably need to go offline with here, Aporia. But now that we can toggle off AAs, there's a lot of things there's a lot of QOL type of options that we could enable as passive AAs that
I think
we toggle on and off.
Like, well, so follow me on this one, right? The most recently used petamorph wand just automatically affects everything.
No.
Unless you turn it off.
Yeah, so the current behavior of petamorph wands is if you don't have one of your pets targeted, it affects everything. If you target one of your pets, it only affects that pet. And if you equip it in the ammo slot, which is probably behavior that's going away because it was really hacky, when you zone, all of your pets get that buff or get that illusion automatically.
That's actually super cool. And if that applied to swarm pets, that would be dope.
Do you think maybe just equipping the petamorph wand should just apply that illusion to all of your pets?
Yeah, I do. And it should affect swarm pets too. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, yeah, I can implement that. That's relatively straightforward to do. That behavior needs a little bit of polish anyway because it wasn't completely correct. Yeah, there's a larger conversation there to take offline because I had some ideas around how we could improve some UX around a few things regarding illusions. So remind me to bring that up sometime.
So it's a discussion, but do you guys have any idea if you were to equip it, would it go in the ammo slot or would it go somewhere else?
I need to have that offline conversation before I can really answer that question.
That's fair. There's like 4 questions here that all ask about solo self-found and hardcore and just the details about the base rule set and how will loot work.
How about we like put together a dev diary or something so to answer these questions with more finality for you?
Yeah, well, I think so. We've got some pretty well documented things already. We just need to flesh those out, and I could see that coming out within the next week or two. We'll share that a couple weeks ahead of launch, so people know what they're expecting. What to expect.
Cool. And did we ever land somewhere on whether the character sets thing was going out before or with those features?
Ideally before, but it depends on dev cycle, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I would like to get them out before, simply to break, so we have fewer changes happening all at once.
Oh, 100%. I mean, ideally, when play modes launch, it's literally only play modes that launches.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
And Omni Slays asks if you guys have any or have ever made any thoughts about doing patches at like midnight as opposed to midday to less impact the populace.
No, we have to get up in the morning. We love that we have as many people as we do, but that's not usually in the cards. So exactly. We would love to do that, and honestly, sometimes we can, and sometimes we have. But realistically speaking, to give ourselves enough breathing room, like if something goes wrong, no one here wants to be up till 4 a.m. under the stress of 30,000 people can't log in and play. Like we don't want to be in that position.
Yeah, the other side of it is we used to do patches late at night like that, but the project has gotten larger, and so we're trying to have like for lack of a better term, a higher level of professionalism around the quality of patches. So we're testing them more, and we're having people who weren't intimately involved with the development do testing to make sure that there's not blind spots there. And it's just something we can I don't mind doing patches at midnight personally, but when it's just me doing it, but it's not just me doing it. So
I see Kata online at 3 to 4 a.m. a lot.
Yeah, but there's a difference between staying up because you're excited or want to stay up and staying up because you are terrified of people not being able to log on and all the many messages that come with that.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't saying that as an advocation for to have the things happen that late at night, just that he's already working as hard as he can on tons of stuff. Like these guys work constantly on this, like literally constantly this stuff. I can go through a couple of these really quick, but like, would there be any plans for a taunt zone item in the EOM store at all?
No,
never explicitly, emphatically no.
Yeah, there are certain things, and let me be very clear. There's a lot of things we can do. It's not a technical limitation. We don't want this to feel artificial, right? So there are certain things that are just over the threshold, and that's one of them.
Magnus wants to know, since WoW did it, can we get a 1-button rotation for EQ?
Here's a shocking comment coming from me. I'm not wholly opposed to the concept, but it hasn't been discussed internally.
Listen, you're talking to someone who loved Rift's macros, where I literally had the most complicated macros and could just roll my face on the keyboard and win. But at the same time, meh.
I think that the 1-button rotation concept gives a lot of freedom to worry about something other than like which ability you're using next to maximize DPS. I don't know. I have nuanced thoughts there, and I don't think it's wholly a bad idea. But I think we don't need to go into that right now.
Although I said Rift, and now my mind is wandering.
Was that the one that we could have wings and you could fly around and stuff?
No,
that was Aeon.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Actually, I really enjoyed that game. You guys kind of answered this, but this is this person's first time in here, and I just want to pop it. Sorry if this has been asked, but for Dungeon Finder, TBD, how does the loot work? Brand new items on the server or heavily upgraded OG items from the original dungeons?
Yeah, so
Go ahead. I'll stay out of this one.
Oh, I'm actually interested to hear what you were going to say. There's only 2 questions left, so we can afford a little. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not going to put this one public if you read it.
I have a lot of thoughts there. I like the idea of having upgraded versions of OG loot. I actually do. But we've steered clear of custom itemization that competes with normal items for the most part, with one notable exception that I somewhat feel uncomfortable about. So we've had a bunch of ideas on how to reward an itemized Dungeon Finder.
Yeah, I can say with a pretty high degree of certainty that Dungeon Finder will not bring new upgraded versions. The eventual Raid Finder will, but the Dungeon Finder will not. Dungeon Finder is going to be currency and illusions and glamours and familiars.
Oh, that was spoilers. Maybe. Why did you just have? I might have to bring that up.
There might be familiars.
You guys already technically spoiled that about a week back. Actually, I think in VV's last one.
Yep.
Oh, did we?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that is. Well, what even is a familiar? But anyways,
I'm familiar
no,
with it.
a lot of the things that are going to be in the currency shop are not. It's not going to be upgraded versions of stuff. We haven't settled exactly on what we're looking for. But I can guarantee you that there's going to be things like mounts, bags, cosmetic stuff, fun stuff, OGs. You'll see a lot of that in Dungeon Finder currency.
There you go. Did you read this to see why I wasn't going to ask
Nope.
this? Yeah.
Yep. Nope.
Yep.
Don't
but
ask that. And actually,
I wanted to save it because it's going to be, right. I'm going to send it to you
because that needs to be handled ASAP. Like that's actually a big one, and I forgot about that.
It's a known issue. It's a bandolier one. That's it.
No, it's not. And we've talked about it. We'll talk about it offline when we end this.
I fixed the one that you're talking about. That's a bandolier issue. But we can talk about it offline.
You're sure?
I am 97% sure based on other commentary that he made in chat.
Oh, okay. So he said more. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, that was our last question for the night. And once again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like, thanks for being here. Thanks for interacting, for asking us questions. Like, we do this for you. And if you have a chance when you're in Discord and you see any of our volunteers or any of our team members, please share your thanks with them. It makes their day and they deserve it. Like it's so wonderful having the volunteers that we do, having the team members that we do, having the community that we do. I've been reminded very recently how lucky we are to have the people we have and have the community that we have. So thank you all for being a part of it.
Thank you for doing this. Yeah. I mean, just in general, guys taking your time. You guys are very busy. You guys got tons of stuff to do. I mean, it feels like lately too, it's been absolutely wild. I brought this up, I feel like at the last Q&A too. You guys have just been constantly at stuff. So thank you for being able to take the time, both mine and Void stream, talk to people, talk
absolutely.
to the community. It's really great. And it puts you guys way above anybody else in your shoes.
We appreciate that, man. Well, hope you all have a great weekend. Reboot tomorrow, Easter event rewards, and then just another month and play modes, people. So high fives,
Soon.
Be good, be happy. See you around.
Yep, bye-bye.
Player housing confirmed.
PvP player housing.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to pulling my shirt off and beating up Void in my basement of my new player-owned house.
Will there be pearl necklaces?
Oh, of course there will.
Okay, well, you know what? Sign me up then.
Love it. All right, I'm going to jump out of here and I'm going to say my goodbyes to chat here. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for yet another great Q&A. Kata Dev, Aporia Dev, and our wonderful Variety Void streamer, all here, all having a great time. I think we did make some progress on housing. I think we're weakening him. We'll get there. We'll get there. Soon, TM. You know what I mean? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but we'll get there. We just got to keep working on it. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate all the bits, all the follows, all of the everythings. You guys have been really awesome. Some great questions tonight. We literally got through all of them but one, and that one question that we didn't answer is because it was kind of related to something that probably shouldn't be brought up in a public forum. But that's fine. I love you guys. You're all awesome. We're going to go ahead and we're going to raid out from here. You're beautiful. Thanks again, guys. Can't wait to see you again next week in Variety Void stream.